Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 9th of... There's a big horn going on outside. Today's the 9th of August, 2019. It's Friday. That means it's our weekly roundup. We're going to cover all the news that happened this week.
I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start, you guys. There's like literally 5 bombshells every day. It's like you get hit by a wave and you get hit by a wave and you get hit by a wave, and we probably could have gone live 20 times a day and not covered all the news. I have no, or whatever. Make America Great Again. Realize that the elite since 1913 have taken our country over, and we realized we jumped on this train because I saw Trump headed down the direction away from totalitarian, away from the Federal Reserve, away from foreign wars, and away. And I'm like, I'm getting on this train, and everybody who didn't get on that train is miserable and upset. But I have good news, because you can get on the train at any point. That's the greatness about. I want to play that video if you can find it again of the girl who's not a Democrat anymore, that soft-spoken girl at the Trump rally. If you have it on your computer, just play her little segment, because it's happier over here on this side. And I go to the grocery store, and I don't wear my Trump hat because I don't want to ruffle any feathers. But people go to the movies and they buy pizza and they go to restaurants and they go to Starbucks and they put their kids in baseball. And you got a few little Twitter battles and a few little Facebook battles. But you guys, this is not going to be a civil war. It's not going to be violent. But I will tell you this, that the elites are pretending to make it like it will be, because they don't have anything left.
Right.
They don't have people who are willing to...
It's called fear-mongering.
The only people they have are a handful of Antifa. When you look at their mugshots, they're like Skid Row meth heads, right? They're nobodies. They're nothing. They have no strength. They have nothing. And a lot of the conservatives think that we're fighting Antifa. We're fighting other Americans. We know that we're not fighting Hillary Clinton supporters. We're not fighting average Democrats. Okay. And that's why we are looking the elite straight in the eye. And there's millions of us. And there's more with us. We learn through history. It takes no gun, but it takes the words of, it's okay for me to own a gun.
Right.
Okay. Our words, and this is a prophetic word for you all right now. Your words are the gospel of Jesus Christ. And there are millions of people who are captive to a public school system that pulls a 6th grade boy aside and says, you can't say a boy is a boy. There are millions of people who are captive to this slavery corporate system, to the Monsantos. And yeah, we are literally taking them all on. Because once one goes, then they all go. And this is our moment, and we can feel it. And we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but rulers and principalities. And we realize that the demons are screaming, which is why when you watch, and I'm going to play some of this, which is why, maybe you can bring up, maybe they want to watch it, the MSNBC clip that Mom showed them. MSNBC, Brian Williams,
okay.
8 equals
I'm not going to be able
H.
to find the other one that you wanted me to find with the girl.
Okay. Our own video?
Yeah, because I don't know what it's on. I don't know what video Mom put it on.
It's on the millennial video.
No, I don't see
XYZ.
I just checked
Generation
it.
XYZ. Well, I have it in my videos. I could bring it up.
MSNBC what?
MSNBC, Brian Williams, 8 equals H. The demonic forces have taken their masks off, and everybody who is demon possessed, you can now see it. Let me give you an example of someone who is crazy. Here you have MSNBC. MSNBC had a really bad week. Are they in our title? Can you fit them in our title? MSNBC had
Wait, the title on the Washington Examiner says MSNBC guest uncovers super secret Nazi code in Trump's half-staff order. Like, they're saying it like it's a real thing.
They says it on the real part of politics too. That's so funny. You have this. MSNBC literally went InfoWars, but to the left, and then down the line to the Anunnaki, to the underling people living in the Antarctic.
Wow.
We're now at V's and reptilians. And this is on literal MSNBC. So here you have Jason Johnson saying Tucker Carlson basically supports terrorism.
Right? Because I stand back and I look at this and I see Tucker Carlson as a guy who has repeatedly failed in television, who's basically been given media welfare, a prime...
Okay, by the way, Tucker Carlson outbeats everybody.
He's like the #1 news show. Oh my gosh.
Everybody watches Tucker Carlson. Okay, first lie number 1.
Spot to replace a guy who left because of massive sexual harassment issues, and he's still being promoted not because he's good at his job,
because he's really good at his job.
Because he's really, really good at his job.
Because he has the skill set of the person that he replaced, but because he promotes a certain kind of bigotry that other people can't say as eloquently. What do we do with that as a society? Do we constantly call him out for it, or do we pretend he's actually just an entertainer?
Well, he's talented at serving it up. I mean, he is. That's a.
Who are you? And nobody watches
you. To be perfectly honest, you're
well,
talented.
Is that really what you want? That's like asking Trump to get off the golf course.
Well, I mean, but I think the issue is if you're constantly being busted for not being able to say the quiet part loud. You know, you're constantly saying the quiet part loud.
It's like,
that's the problem.
To me, this is very similar to Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump comes down the escalator and he says, Mexico's sending rapists. And everyone's like, whoa, dude, that's a really racist. I mean, first of all, it's not true, but also that's a really racist thing to say. And remember that all...
Guess what? Rapists are coming up through the border.
Sponsorships got canceled, and people reacted, but then it was just like, oh wow, there's just enough people that like this that he's just going to keep going, and that's basically the same issue with Trump TV.
Right, and here's the thing: from a financial standpoint, fine, there are people who still want to watch that kind of nonsense. Right. But I'm saying for the rest of us in the media ecosystem, for everybody else who's talking about it, we have to now frame this as this is somebody who basically supports terrorism.
Basically so Tucker Carlson basically supports. This is a guy who has repeatedly called for us to leave Syria, leave Afghanistan, who says Iraq, killing, 1 million people in Iraq was wrong, no more foreign wars, and all he's calling for is literally a strong border so that people cannot come over illegally. Unbelievable. That is all. And that is terrorism to this person. How do you get there? Okay, that's how you get there. You got this little clip up with this little guy. Listen, here's your conspiracy theory.
Okay, so which one do you want me to play, though? These are the videos that came up when I searched for it.
Probably that one, the 2-minute one, I guess.
This one right here?
Sure.
H and see what happens.
No. Brain Williams. That happens to be all the time. Actually, I have it too. I just thought you would want to. They don't want you to find it.
They really don't want you to find it.
I have it. I have to find it though. Because you have to see this. I know I shared it on my resistance check, so you can bring it up there too. Wait, I think I brought it up here. I have it. Nope, that's Dayton. That's a good one. That's a happy one. We're gonna bring that up. Frank Fizzgulzi. That's at the about 2-minute mark. Here we go.
And we didn't hear, I condemn white hate ideology. We heard the nation must condemn it. Well, the nation does.
We didn't
So
hear...
it's not the same to say that the nation must condemn something. You have to say, I condemn it.
So here's the thing. There's one thing to say, hey, I'm going to go to the grocery store. And then we say, we are going to go to the grocery store. It's a bigger net.
Hang on, though. Because if I were to say, the nation must be pro-life, that does not mean that I'm pro-life. I can say that the nation should be pro-life, but don't put me in that. You can't then say that that means that I'm pro-life. I just think that everybody else should be.
Does condemn it, but we didn't hear what we needed to hear. So what happens is the extremists interpret what the president...
So I don't know what's on with what's the deal with his eyes, but he's got the crazy eyes.
He does have the crazy eyes.
And we always reference the V because we watch this show where the people come down as reptilians and they you can see it in their eyes. And so he's a V to me.
Read off a script today as something he needed to say, something he didn't really want to say. So the president's either getting really good advice and rejecting it, or he's getting really bad advice. And I'll give you an example of that. We have to understand the adversary and the threat we're dealing with.
Here it comes.
And if we don't understand how they think, we'll never understand how to counter them. So it's little things and language and messaging that matters. The president said that we will fly our flags at half-mast until August 8th. That's 8/8. Now, I'm not going to imply that he did this deliberately, but I am using it as an example of the ignorance of the adversary that's being demonstrated by the White House. The numbers 8/8 are very significant in neo-Nazi and white supremacy movement. Why? Because the letter H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, and to them, the numbers 8/8 together stand for Heil Hitler. So we're going to be raising the flag back up at dusk on 8/8. No one's thinking about this. No one's giving
right
him
there.
the advice.
Because
Nobody's
is
be thinking about it, man.
So he literally, the flag was at half-mast for the victims of both shootings. And the other guy was Elizabeth Warren, crazy guy, who we're going to cover a little bit about him. The Dayton shooter was a very crazy leftist whose whole Twitter feed is full of leftist craziness, who said he was going to vote for Elizabeth Warren. But I'm going to tell you something, and I know I've got Cassandra Fairbanks on here who totally disagrees with me, which is kind of weird, but the Dayton shooter.
Jim West says this guy needs a tin-foil hat. Scotty says this guy is a conspiracy theorist. Isn't that great? It's so true.
So this is from our own Cincinnati Enquirer. And the Dayton gunman played in a... I've never heard of this.
I actually saw this a couple of days ago. A porno grind band.
Metal band.
It's like a...
It's
a vile band. Like I think that it should be self-explanatory because we all know what grind is.
Well, it's about... Grind
like
is
a grunge, grind,
yeah.
you know.
But with the porno grind, they... Like, basically, I want to choke you. I want to give you black eyes. I want to hurt you. I want to assail you, throw you up against the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like this really dark thing.
Yeah.
And he also had a rape list. And he shot his own sister. Okay? And one thing about, it took 60 rounds, I believe, as Thomas Massey said, to subdue this guy. And Thomas Massey said, my wife better at least have half of that or something like that.
No, just as much. He said, my wife better be able to defend my kids, you know,
with as many rounds. It says that, let's see, he was a registered Democrat who talked about guns. He was anti-gun, supposedly, and this is where you see the left all the time. He was supportive of Antifa. And let's see. When I heard he was a shooter, I was not surprised he did something like this, said David Partridge, who went to the same school as Betts in suburban Dayton. You will hear over the coming days many other people who were not surprised. When he was in school, Partridge told the Enquirer Betts had a hit list, and one of his family members appeared on it. Partridge contacted the police, who have not released any records relating to the allegation, citing the expungement of juvenile records. So, somebody came out and said, no more expunging juvenile records. We can start there because Parkland should have been in jail. And here's the thing. In Europe, they're putting people in jail for political speech.
Right.
But Parkland's own mother called the cops on him, and the cops are
his
calling
name
him.
is not Parkland. I don't know why we can't remember his name. Somebody in the chat can tell us.
There are also people who aren't doing names. They're just doing. Got to give him.
I have to tell you though, I'm so sick and tired of that. That's absolutely ridiculous, and that's where you and Cassandra Fairbanks.
Seriously, this is the Enquirer. Really? Thank you.
Well, you got porno grind bands.
Porno grind bands, and then we have horrible. That's not addressed, by the way. Cincinnati Enquirer. It says. Let's see. Where am I?
But the point is...
Wait, I want to read this violence from his...
Your head's kind of in front of it, but I think I'll just help.
Thanks. That's great. And that's the Cincinnati Enquirer. Way to go. That's the ads you want on there. So the expungement of juvenile records should not be a thing because most kids have issues as kids.
Right.
And they go on to become horrible criminals.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but no expunging, and people should be able to look at those records of what you did as a kid. Let's see, where am I at? When he was a teenager, Taylor Ford went to summer camp with Betts As he thinks back on it now, Ford remembers a violent incident at a school playground, more for the emotionless way Betts handled it than for the bruises Ford said that were left on his friend's neck. It happened one day after camp in Yellow Springs when Ford was 15 and a girl who had been dating Betts came to visit. Ford said he was talking on the phone about 30 yards away from Betts and his friend when the two seemed to disagree on something. 2 or 3 seconds later, without provocation, Connor grabbed my friend by the throat and started to choke her. I remember very clearly the bruises on her neck in the hours after this happened. Ford, now 24, recalled running away from Betts with his friend. He stared at us without any emotion. So he already strangled a girl, and why is it he should? Yeah, here's the thing: if you take and you strangle somebody, no, you don't get to have a gun as an adult. And somebody said this, like, here's the thing: when you're 18 or 21, however old you are, then I believe, and this is where I believe the left and the right can meet. I want to see where you were at as a kid. What kind of incidences? And if you don't have any incidences with police, then there's nothing we can do. But if you have an incident, which that should have been reported to the police.
Exactly.
And you choke somebody, then you should have another 10-year waiting period or 15-year waiting period. And a panel of judges should say, how's your life now? And you should have people in your life come and say,
witnesses,
because I think that character witnesses, and then, and I think that would, and I feel like that would be a fair type of gun control. That those who were juveniles who committed acts of violence, or anybody who's committed an act of violence, should have to go before a panel to get their Second Amendment right restored.
Reinstated. Yeah.
And if that were the case with Parkland, he would have never been able to get a gun. If that were the case with Dayton, he would never have to get a gun.
Right.
Been able to get a gun. And
but here's the thing about these evil people. They don't actually care about people's criminal records, okay? We've got Bernie Sanders coming out saying that he wants felons to be able to vote. Well, I'm sorry. If you're a felon, you have just revoked your right to vote, okay? And so they don't actually want the felons to not be able to get guns. They want the everyday average American not to be able to have their Second Amendment. They don't want us to be able to defend ourselves against anyone.
Okay, and here's another one. Taylor Gowd, now 22, was a middle school friend of Megan Bates. During a sleepover at Bates' home, and I have no idea why this dude is there, she angered Connor by defending Megan when Connor was mean to her. He strangled me because I got in his face to leave Megan alone. His mom saw it. They were going to talk to someone. Why they're having girl and guy sleepovers, I don't know.
That is weird.
Okay, and why girls are at his home? They were literally at this Betts kid's home having a sleepover.
Well, hang on, wait a minute, though, because he has a sister. So when you have a brother and a sister,
right.
then having girls and guys over goes
that makes
with
sense.
Friends.
That makes sense. Another former classmate told the Inquirer that Betts threatened to kill her before and verbally harassed her in high school. Hey, you threaten to kill somebody, you don't get a gun. Okay? Eventually, Eva Lewis ended up on Betts's kill list. Lewis didn't speak up because she didn't want to encourage the behavior. It felt like real, too. He was being so forward that it would shock you into not saying anything. That's back.
Oh my gosh. Are you
Both
serious?
students had a prominent role in their senior musical. That meant the two were often alone together. Lewis said Betts sometimes talked about not taking medication. Police spent much of Monday outside Betts' home, about 15 miles southeast of Dayton. Among the first people to die on Sunday was Betts' sister, Megan, 22, a student of Wright State University. They don't know why he killed his sister, but you know what? He had a thing
well, okay,
about
so if
women.
he's in this porno grind band, we all know that pornography leads to rape and violence and murder, okay? Yeah. And so the problem that I have with this entire narrative of anti-Second Amendment, take all your guns away, is that nobody wants to actually talk about the societal things that create mass shooters. And you've said it, and you've said it on our Facebook, you said it on Twitter, that 50 years ago, people used to bring their guns to school all the time for gun class, by the way, for rifle, what's it called? Not rifle, not shooting, but anyway. They used to bring their guns to school for this. There weren't school shootings back then.
Right. Oh, shoot. So the porno grind is definitely disgusting. Obviously, abuse of a corpse is what he talks about.
And let me add this though, really quickly.
One more time.
Jeez. Okay, my arm's getting tired. Can we get off this article?
Well, we keep talking. Can I just finish it?
And then I'll get to what I want to say.
All right. So, let's see. Where was I? I lost my article. Somebody said that he was.
Out?
No, I tried closing it out. I just closed down the whole article. One classmate told the Inquirer that Betts had been bullied in high school.
We pay for the Inquirer. We should get it without ads, by the way. You should be, if you were signed in, we probably wouldn't have ads.
All right, that's probably true. He had a plan to shoot up the high school, said Lauren Wakely, who attended Bellbrook High School with him. And, yeah, so he had a plan to shoot up a high school. Everybody knew about him. There was another girl who said that he was had depression humor, joked about dark thoughts and wanting to hurt people. She said, people who do not have a mental illness do not understand this sense of humor. They take it too far, but I didn't, so he trusted me. So Betts showed her video of the synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh the first night they went out. Our relationship mostly consisted of us going out drinking and talking about our mental illnesses and him telling me about world tragedies and me talking about TV shows. And she says, I thought I had a decent judgment of character. Now I feel like my entire psyche needs to be scoped out and reevaluated.
Probably.
So under Ohio law, all sealed juvenile records are automatically expunged after 5 years or when the person turns 23, whichever happens first. And so he has no criminal record other than traffic offenses.
Wow.
So I think that we definitely need more. Obviously, like...
All right, so here's what I would like to propose as my first, as your candidate for whatever I'm running for. This is what I want to propose. Most gun deaths that take place in the United States that make our gun number, our deaths by gun numbers high, happen in, are gang related. Okay? So... I'm envisioning when you talk about them coming to take our guns, right? They're going to bring in the UN. They're going to bring in whoever they need to bring in to bang on your door and try to take your guns away. If they have, look at me when I'm talking to you.
I'm listening, but I'm trying
If they have the power to do that, okay, why not take that power downtown? Use their intelligence that they have on these gangs, bang on the door with SWAT teams and take their guns away first.
I think about it every day.
If you're going to go in and just forcefully take guns away, right? Do you know why they don't go and forcefully take the guns away from gang members? Because they know they get shot up. They will all die. The SWAT team members will die. It will be massacre. It will be ugly. Okay?
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, they banned guns in New York City. And really, Giuliani was really able to do. He did the stop and search,
right?
And if you had a gun on you, then it was taken away. And so he eradicated the city pretty much of guns. But he racially profiled people, and if you look like you were carrying a gun, then you got stopped and you were searched.
I still think that they should go banging on doors of known gang members, known gang places. Just be like, dude, none of y'all can have guns. We're taking them all.
I know.
These cops, you know, these cops wouldn't do it. Because they would fear for their lives afterwards.
I know.
Because those gang members would then get more guns and find them and kill them.
No, if the mainstream media covered Trump supporters correctly, everybody would be a Trump supporter.
And that's true because they're the nicest people on the planet. I told Leah, I said the safest place to be in Cincinnati right now is here at this Trump rally. Yeah. Because everybody is kind. They would give you the shirt off of their back. They would help you in any time of need that you had. Yeah. So we're going to be back here. We're going to try to do.
Let's see if we can get interviews. You want to get any more? Anybody else? All right.
Anybody else will be more,
okay. Anybody want to be interviewed for YouTube? Anybody not shy? Anybody want to be interviewed for YouTube? Tell us why you support the president. Okay, why do you support the President Trump?
He's done a lot for my mom, really. Yeah. Offering jobs, and me and my mom really support him, and my dad likes him too.
Yeah.
And I was raised in a Democratic family, but I chose Republican after my fiance showed me.
Really?
And I really like it. He's done a lot, and
So when did you make the switch? How many years ago?
Like a few months ago, actually.
It's a few months ago. So have you heard of the Democratic walk away movement?
I just learned about it today.
Just today? Yeah. Well, there's a gay guy in New York. His name is Brandon Straka. And he has this movement. It's called Walk Away from the Democratic Party after seeing the lies in the mainstream media. Wow. So just a couple months. So you were raised. So you said your parents, are they now Trump supporters?
My dad always has been. My mom just recently was a few months ago as well.
Okay, so it happened through your boyfriend, but by watching the mainstream media, you wouldn't think that people would leave the Democratic ideals, because all Trump supporters, as you can see, are xenophobic, racist, hateful people. I mean, why would anybody become a Trump supporter?
Well, everybody here I've seen so far is so nice, and they've got hospitality, and they're just really nice people.
Yeah. So you are more a left-leaning liberal. What kind of, have you done like a 180? Like, were you pro-choice and are you now pro-life? I mean, what are the policy changes that have gone inside your mind?
Everything's changed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been a big, complete change for my life.
So do you feel happier?
Yes, very much happier.
So when Trump was elected, were you sad?
Not really. I wasn't really into politics.
Okay.
I know that my family was sad before they switched, and then now it's all happy.
Yeah. Does the country seem better off or worse off since Trump has been elected?
I've noticed more conflict, but I think it's better off because there's a whole lot more jobs, there's more income for people, and I think it's a lot better.
Okay. Well, what was your name?
Rebecca.
Rebecca, it's very nice to meet you. And so right here with Rebecca, there's at least two people who have left the Democrats to join the Republicans, and they're not sorry about it. And I just love this. These are like the best stories ever. And I can tell you, this is my third Trump rally. Everybody is kind. When black people show up, everybody's excited when they're here, because they're like, oh, yay, we need you over here. Come be our friend. And everybody I've talked to, nobody seems to be a racist or anything that the mainstream media calls them. So what do you think? I have a question. What do you think about Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and their far left socialist policies of free healthcare for illegals, free college? And as Elizabeth Warren just said 2 nights ago, there will be under her administration, no illegal immigration, meaning nobody who comes over the border will be a crime.
I don't agree with them. I honestly think that's not good for our country. I think socialism will turn our economy down the hole, and I don't think they should be president.
So is your boyfriend here?
He's not. He had to work.
Oh, so you're here as his proxy.
Yes.
Okay, well, he can see you on our YouTube channel.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. All right. Here's our card. All right. Well, thank you, Rebecca. It's nice to meet you.
I'm going to sign off. We want you guys to send us your letters to P.O. Box 107, Milford, Ohio 45150. We will read them on air. Thank you, Thomas, for your words earlier about gun control in the United States. So we will be back here on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our European and UK news. That's going to be a really great show. So come back and join us for that. I do hope to do a Bible study soon now that I'm not sick anymore. Praise the Lord for that. Redneck, I hope your birthday is beautiful tomorrow. So I want you guys to have a wonderful rest of your evening. Be safe. We love you. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. Good night, guys.